Hello, welcome to Now Tell Us. At Now Tell Us is where we have guests come and tell us stories. They come and inspire us. They come and educate us on a subject. It's always interesting. And so today we wait for the guest to come because we have yet again another interesting guest with us. And we are going to discuss a topic that maybe many of you are not ready for, but it's important you have this conversation with us. It's known as In the Event I Die, and our guest is known as Maisha Daniels. But before we go and meet Maisha Daniels, I'm going to remind you that to get our past episodes or even future episodes, remember to go to nowtellus.com. You'll get all of them there, and you can also go to the listening platforms: Audible, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Just name it, you get us there. Nowtellus.com to connect with uh, us and also give us feedback there. And here also, if you are there, you're watching, let us know you're watching, ask a question, put a comment, and we will highly appreciate. And without taking one more minute here, because I want to go and meet Maisha, let's go together and meet our guest today. Here we go. Hello, Maisha.
Hello, Anthony. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm fantastic. We are in the month of December and we're towards the end of the year, so I'm looking forward to finishing out this year and starting the next.
Oh, yeah, it's wonderful. And it's a time of the year that we are always waiting for to celebrate, to have parties and enjoy because we celebrate a life that is most important in our life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, the birth of Jesus Christ on 25th, but we started early. I don't know. Where are you?
I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Whoa,
So
I'm always looking forward to come to Dallas, Texas.
it is a beautiful state. I love the city. We get this hybrid weather right now. I believe it's like 63 degrees outside. So it's not feeling like winter, but
Hmm.
we get ours in February.
Oh, okay, that's good. And I don't know whether those celebrations start as early as they do. Where I am in Athens, Greece, and celebrations start very early for the
Oh, yeah.
Christmas. Uh-huh.
The same here. Right after Thanksgiving, you see Christmas designs and trees, decorations everywhere. So, not just Athens, but here in the US also.
Oh, now let me ask you a question. Maisha, that's your
Yes,
name.
that's my name. Yes, sir.
Uh, who gave it to you, or did you give it to yourself? Because I have
No.
people who give people their names.
Well, actually, I have a short story. So, my name, Maisha, means life in Swahili. I was
Mm.
born in Chicago, Illinois. And when I was born, I was having some medical issues. And my mom's nurse, she was from Kenya.
Oh.
And she was encouraging my mom, and my mom was worried about my condition. And the nurse said, this baby will not die, she will live, and we're going to speak a life over her life. And that's how
Mhm.
I got my name, Maisha means life, and that's how I got my name, and I'm full of life.
Yes, you do. We can see that. your, your bright smile is a great thing for us. It means much. Uh, and now, today we are discussing death with Maisha. That's
Yes.
interesting. How did it all come to be that we are going to discuss death today instead of life?
Well, the transition of there's a cycle of life. We're
Mhm.
born and then we live and then we pass on. And that's
Mm.
just the cycle that's been since, the beginning of time. And so I actually went through a situation myself. I'm young, I have children, I have husband, and living life, and you're kind of, working hard and developing your career, but then something unexpected happens which kind of halts and just shifts your whole atmosphere. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, that is death of a loved one. So my father's mother, she passed away. I want to say about a year and a half ago, right now.
Wow.
And she was in Chicago, Illinois, and my father passed first, then my grandfather, which is my
Mm-hmm.
dad's father, then my paternal grandmother. So they all three passed within a short time frame.
Oh.
And during my grandmother was like the matriarch. She handled all the finances, the business. She was kind of the hands and brains of the operation of the family. And then so when she passed, nobody knew where anything was. Like, we were looking for her life insurance policies. We know she owned a home in Chicago, and different, people said that she had a property here, or, her bank accounts. We had no idea where anything was. Matter of fact, I'm actively still trying to navigate, through a lot of this. And it was rough because you're already suffering the loss of a loved one. And then, two, on top of that, now you're having to go through trying to find out information, how you're going to come up with the funds to put them to rest, all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was a really rough experience. And I prayed and I was like, Lord, asking for guidance. And I have a passion for educating. I have a wealth background as far as working in the banking industry. And so I was, wealth manager for 17 and a half years. And so now, with through A1 Financial Consulting that I do on my own, I was like, how can I help people? How can I get a message out? I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want anybody else to go through what I've experienced. And so literally one day, it was just, the idea was birthed in my mind to like write a book to where people can actually list all of their things in one spot.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's wills, and sometimes, depending on what attorney you have, not even the will has all of the information, like where your life insurance policy is, where's your bank account, do you have businesses, do you have a trust, do you have properties, do you have land, even with your passwords and PIN numbers, everything's digital nowadays. And
Mm-hmm.
so, great, okay, yeah, I know you may bank at XYZ bank, but if I don't have like access with username and password or PIN numbers, and without the proper documentation, it makes it very difficult to access your loved ones, private bank accounts, or if they have a safe with all of their paperwork in there, you don't have the passcode or the PIN number. That makes it really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to develop this book to where you can keep all of that information, and you could put as much or as little. I even have a page on there to where you can have it notarized, which in a lot of states, as long as it's notarized and you have it written down your wishes, it is a legal document. And so I just wanted to educate the community, because a lot of times you see like these GoFundMe's, or you see a lot of times assets are lost, they go up for auction or they go to the property of the state.
Mm-hmm.
So it all wrapped, even though I have so much life, death is definitely a part of life. And so I wanted to properly prepare people, instead of just being like lost, have a way they can actually put their information down and pass that legacy and the hard work they've done onto their loved ones.
Mm. Wow, that's quite a. I mean, and first and foremost, sorry for all that went through,
Thank you.
all that you went through, and it's a good thing that you came up with these. And I am imagining, because I've witnessed many people fight when their loved one is passed, and
Yes.
I don't know whether uh, you've witnessed the same around you.
I've seen it. I'm also a licensed life insurance agent. And
Mhm.
so you see and come across some tough situations between family. That is the last thing you want to see for family members who have lost a loved one, whether it's grandmother, mom, dad. It can bring tension if things aren't properly structured. I
Mhm.
like this idea because the person who's filling out their book, this is their wishes.
Mhm.
It's written down, it's notarized if you choose to have it notarized, everything's listed, and it will eliminate a lot of fighting, because who's going to have they're like, this is mom's handwriting, this was her request, this is what she wished. There's no need for fighting because everything's already structured, everything's already lined out. All you have to do is just follow the instructions, which
Mm,
should keep peace amongst the family. Now somebody may be disgruntled about how things are structured or how things are laid out, but it doesn't target that anger towards that other family member, that sibling or that niece or that nephew or that grandchild, because they're not the one that did it. It
mm,
was the person's wishes. So it eliminates a lot of arguing, fussing, fighting, strife, and then you could just go forward with settling the affairs, going through the mourning process, and being done with it. It's
mm,
really rough when you have to continue, and it's just drawn out, frustrating battle, and it's constantly replaying in your mind of what's already happened while you're going through this in the first place.
mm. Okay. I just discovered that our channels did not automatically go live for reasons I don't understand.
Uh-oh.
But we are live on Facebook, and I shared, and we have no, we are live on YouTube now. You can share the YouTube link that is there on your Facebook, so that people who are waiting, because I know we had people waiting to be with us, they can go to the YouTube. If you can see the link,
Um, I
I sent it in the comments. In the
Okay.
Yeah, in the comments.
Okay, let me try that.
Did you see it?
Let me refresh.
No, you don't have to refresh. Just go to the comments, or let me send it also to the private chat. I'm sorry for that. It doesn't usually happen. I
Okay.
mean, I don't know why on such a day it chooses not to. But anyway, we keep going. So, as you're doing that, tell us how long it took you to write the book.
It actually took me, honestly, when I got the idea to do it, it
Mm-hmm.
was in September of this year.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it as soon as I got the idea. I was like, okay, I need to be quick with this. I wanted, because all my thoughts just kind of came, and it's like I had to get it jotted down on paper. And so I literally wrote the book in, I want to say, about 3 weeks.
Three
All
weeks
of
a
the
month.
information was fresh, yes.
Okay.
Some of the things in the hoops that I had to jump through, it was top of mind and it was fresh. So I got everything written down and it's like, okay, well, let's take this to the next step. Let me actually get this published,
Mm-hmm.
because the whole thing was wanting to get it out to help other people and to be educated. A lot of times people just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people are like, well, I need a lawyer. You can, but not everybody feels like they can afford a lawyer, or they understand the ins and outs of a will, or people may feel like they don't even have enough assets for a will or to hire an attorney. But if you own a home, that's an asset in itself, and that's enough, to be able to pass on to your children or your grandchildren or whomever you choose.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to get this book out, so it literally took me 3 weeks to write it, and then so from beginning to finish, I started writing in September, and I had book in hand the beginning of November.
Hmm, that's interesting. Now, to the person who's listening out there, you can actually write a book in 3 weeks.
Yes. If you
Yeah.
have that idea and that idea is just sparked and you just go, yes, it is very doable.
Yeah. Now, I have you started doing some book tours?
Not yet. So
Mhm.
I just really got my book this month. Are we in December? We're in December.
Yeah, in
So
December.
last
So I'm
month,
imagining that
yes.
you've had it for some 3, 4 weeks.
Yes. So
Uh-huh.
I've done some pop-up shops. So a pop-up shop is where you have in the community, you have a local store or place and they have vendors. And then so I did held one there. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually been reaching out to bookstores, funeral homes, because I believe this is a great complement to an life insurance policy or
Mm-hmm.
pre-need, because sometimes people don't think of all the things that they actually may want to have taken care of. So the book, you flip through it and it kind of guides you through each thing. It lets you know what it is. And then if you have that item or if you have that asset or you have that business or property, you could just list it. So I wanted to get this into funeral homes, bookstores, because I really believe it's something that's needful, especially for those who are unaware, where they feel like they're at a disparity. The book is an easy way to go ahead. Whatever you do have, you can get that passed on and shared.
Mm. And what has been the response from those people that have read it already in
Most of the responses I've gotten, even when I started working with my publisher, they were like, "Where were you a year ago
Mhm,
when I was going through this with my father, or I was going through this with my grandfather?" That is the most response I get a lot is, "Where were you a year ago? Like, this is so needful. This
mm,
is so helpful." Because, like I said, although we live life, we don't feel that we're gonna pass away or anything like that. Just to go back, what, 2 years, COVID, that
mm,
was a situation nobody expected,
mhm,
where, thousands upon thousands of lives were unfortunately lost, which left people at a loss. You have a young mother or you have a young father who is the breadwinner, or they're, taking care of the family, and all of a sudden they've come down with COVID and unfortunately passed away.
mhm,
That's not the thought, when you're young, or a young family, or that's not even on top of your mind. So many assets, so many things were displaced. And so that is the reason why I'm like, I know it's not a topic that most people would like to talk about,
mm,
but because unfortunately it is real, we have no control over it. I wanted to help people be prepared for when that time comes, to make it easier. Like
mhm,
my husband and I, we have children, we have quite a few children. And so we are setting it up ourselves to, God forbid, one of us pass, the kids know, okay, this is where mom and they got the book. Okay,
mhm,
let's go through here. We know, because I'm an investor. I have, stocks, we have land, we have so many different things, so that we don't want the state of Texas to take that stuff up. We
mhm,
don't want our land to be sold for pennies on a dollar because the taxes were lapsed. So it's important to let your beneficiary know, hey, this is what I have. We want to keep this in the family. Make sure you take care of this. This is the address. Let's stay on top of it. Because in Texas, there's so much land, and it's being sold for pennies on a dollar. And then you get these large corporations that buy up this land for cheap after your family member had worked 30 years to pay that off. It
mm,
shouldn't be that way. We
mhm,
should be able to leave a legacy, continue, the hard work, pass that down to generations to come, because that's how wealth is created and that's how a legacy is left.
mm. And now your book refers again it refers to the wheel. What's the difference between your book and the wheel?
So it's a complement to a will.
Okay.
Sometimes it just depends on how a will is structured. Sometimes wills may list the assets that a person has. I'm not sure, depending on how technical or detailed either the attorney is, or the person who's getting it created is.
Mhm,
Um, so they may put all that information in there. There's been quite a few times, especially when I was in the banking industry, and we would get a customer who brought us a probated will. It had like who they wanted to leave it to, and the instructions, and the executor. It had all of that, but very seldom did it list, oh, well, here's where she banks at. Here's what the business. I haven't seen that.
mhm,
Especially I worked with wealth management customers who had assets up to 5 million. Very rare when I would get those wills would I see all of their assets listed.
mhm,
So it's actually a complement to the will. So if you desire to get a will, yes, still get a will if you desire. And then you can actually fill out where everything is. That was the problem. It was like, okay, well, there was a will, but where is there's no information. There's no
mhm,
nothing. And
mhm,
so that's the problem of having to try, especially living out of state, calling from living in Dallas, Texas, and trying to call to Chicago, Illinois, and they want this paperwork and they want that. And then you are just shooting in the dark because you know how many banks there are. It's like
mhm,
having to go through and say, okay, this is this person's name, date of birth, social, and to do a search. And a lot of times they're passing you along. Like I said, it's a stressful situation. And
mhm,
so it just makes the burden less by literally detailing. So it's a great complement to a will. Or even if some people don't have a will, it will still stand when the person who owns that book signs it, and then even get it notarized also.
mm. Okay, so we get that, and that's very good of you, bringing uh, that such an important thing in our life, because there are a lot of things on a day-to basis that we don't get to think about, and they are important. And
Yes,
without people like you who bring things uh, to the limelight, those things that we shy away from, those things that we've forgotten, then it won't be an interesting life like it is now. That
absolutely.
yeah. So we thank you very much
Yes.
for taking that time and putting this together. And we are wishing that many people get to read it and get to use it.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Especially local community. I'm signing to be with churches local here because, like I said, a lot of people don't know and they
Yeah.
feel like they don't have anything to leave. But like
Mhm.
I said, even if you own a home, if you own a car, if you have bank accounts, that is enough to, God forbid, that time has come. You don't want that to get lost. You,
Mm.
whomever your loved ones that are still left here living on, they can carry on your desires, your dreams, your hard work, and they know, okay, well, I have something in order to move forward with.
Mm.
So that is what I want to do, is make sure educating the community, because education is key. People don't know, they can't act, but once they have the information and they have the tools, they can go very far.
Sure, sure. I agree with you. Now, if you would like people to connect with you for much more and also to get the book, where do we send the people to?
Absolutely. So if you'd like to connect with me, I'm on Facebook, Maisha Daniels, Maisha Daniels on Facebook. On Instagram, I'm Maisha Daniels underscore biz. That's my first name, last name, underscore biz. That's where I'm giving information. I give a lot of tools. I give a lot of information for people to know for their personal development.
Mm-hmm.
And then on YouTube, Maisha Daniels. And then if you'd like to get a copy of the book, or it's Christmas time and you feel like this will be a great gift to give to somebody who may need that, you can purchase your book online at www.intheeventidie.com. So it's the title of the book.com.
Yeah, that's the book. In the event I die, you can get it from www.intheeventidie.com.
Yes.
Book by Maisha Daniels. So go connect with Maisha, go get the book, and it's an important thing and is a part of life. As we are discussing death, death is a part of life. That's why we are not shying away from it right now. So in the
Absolutely.
event I die, is a book you should have. Go get it.
Yes.
Um, Now we are almost coming to the end of this show. But before we come to the end of the show, would like Maisha to leave us with a few words that we should always remember. Which are they?
Absolutely. Yes. Well, my number one thing is keeping God first.
Mhm.
God has blessed my hands, my business, my mind. And so in that, I carry out a mission to serve others. Serving others is paramount, and more than just serving myself. We want to help others, because when you help others, it comes back to you.
Mm.
So whatever your dream is, whatever your desire, your business, your adventure, definitely go for it. See, go forth. I worked for banking for 17 years. Unfortunately, was laid off in 2019, right before COVID happened. And it was like, you know what? I have skills, I have things I can use to serve others. And that's how my business and my book was birthed. So, whatever your dream is, don't think it's too small.
Mm.
Go for your dreams, go for your goals. God will do the rest. He will bless the work of your hands. And so, my thing is always, I teach my children, make sure you look after others, serve others. And then, of course, God will take care of you, and that service will come back.
Mm. That's very good of you, Maisha. Thank you for sharing that with us. So, for those who get to watch us, who are watching us now or listening to us, we've been having Maisha Daniels discussing In the Event I Die, a book that she recently wrote and published, and it's important that you have it. And
Yes.
yeah, we thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you. Thank you for having me, Anthony. It's certainly been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure having you here. And all the viewers and the listeners, please give us feedback, and we'll appreciate that. And remember to go to www.intheeventidie.com, get the book, connect with Maisha.
Awesome.
That's it for now. I've been your host, Anthony Morore, and together with Maisha Daniels, say bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye.